Hi everyone, welcome to the start of this reading vlog. I was trying to think about it and I don't think I've ever actually posted a reading vlog on my channel before, which is really weird. I've definitely filmed some, but I guess the footage just was never good enough to make it to the internet. But I have high hopes for this reading vlog. I'm going to be reading only dark academia books, which if you don't know what dark academia is, basically it's a subgenre or an aesthetic, and it's really romanticizing education and literature and the arts. Usually a dark academia novel takes place on a college campus or some type of academic setting, and the characters are usually students or professors or a mix. And there's usually an element of murder or death involved, which is where the dark comes into play in dark academia. So I feel like these type of books are perfect to read in the fall because it usually takes place around back to school time, which is fall, and they're usually very eerie and a little spooky and definitely very atmospheric. Ideally, I want to title this vlog something like reading only dark academia for a week, but depending on how busy my week is, I don't know how many books I'll be able to get read. So I'll probably just end up vlogging until I have like 4 or so books read, or however much feels like enough content to be able to share for you guys, or just until I get sick of reading dark academia. I do have some book mail that I have been saving to open up at the beginning of this vlog. I have about 6 or so books here. I'm not going to be reading all of these for the vlog, but I just wanted to have a selection to be able to choose from. I'm pretty sure I know what book I want to start with for the vlog, but from there I feel like I just want to mood read because some of these plot lines sound very similar, so I just don't want it to get too repetitive. Ooh, okay. First one I have is If We Were Villains by M.L. Rio. I know this one is about a group of students at a theater school, and I know there's a lot of Shakespeare references in here. There's also a murder, and we're trying to figure out who died and who killed this person in the friend group. Next one, I'm so excited about this book. It's They Never Learn by Layne Fargo. And this one, the main character is Professor, and she's also a serial killer, but she's killing men who have done wrong to women. And I feel like it's gonna be really tense. Like, how does she balance being a professor and also getting away with these murders on campus? There's a few books in this one. Then I have The Maidens by Alex Michaelides. He is the author of The Silent Patient, which was very popular and beloved, and I didn't love it quite as much as everyone else, but I've heard very mixed reviews about The Maidens, so I'm curious to see how I like it in comparison to The Silent Patient. This one takes place in the UK at Cambridge University, and it also involves a professor who could potentially be a killer. There's a group of girls at this university who are obsessed with this professor, and they call themselves the Maidens, which sounds super creepy. There's also a lot of Greek mythology elements to this as well. Then I have another thriller, In My Dreams I Hold a Knife by Ashley Winstead. This one is about a group of students, and we get dual timelines, past and present. In the past, in college, there was this murder, and then in present day, they're having a college reunion, and all these secrets are being uncovered about the murder and what actually happened. Then I have The Secret History by Donna Tartt. This one is the OG blueprint for dark academia. It's about a group of students at a prestigious school, and there was a murder in their friend group, and we're trying to figure out who was murdered as well as who did it. Then I got a fantasy to switch it up a little bit. This is Ninth House by Leigh Bardugo. It's about a girl who is trying to uncover what this secret society at Yale is up to. So I think the first book that I want to read for the vlog, it only feels right to start with The Secret History by Donna Tartt. This one is just the original dark academia book. I see it recommended in every single dark academia video imaginable, and it's crazy to me that I haven't read it yet because I just see it everywhere. So I really need to know what the hype is with this book. I've heard that the writing is beautiful. I've heard that you shouldn't go into it expecting a thriller because it's kind of slow paced, so I'm just gonna go into it with as little expectations as possible. All I know is that it's about a pretentious group of friends. There's a murder involved. One of them did it. We don't know who. We don't know why. I am gonna read a little bit and I'll update you guys later when I have some thoughts. Hi guys, it's a couple days later. I haven't had a ton of time to read this week, but I made it to page 104, which is the start of chapter 3 in The Secret History. And the fact that chapter 3 starts on page 104 should tell you everything you need to know about how long and dense this book is. And I don't mean that in a bad way at all, but I am really glad that I knew before going into this book that it was going to be very slow paced, because I think if I had thought that this was a fast paced, edge of your seat kind of thriller, I would be a little bit disappointed. But I am very, very intrigued by the story so far. From page 1 in the prologue, we find out who is murdered in this book, which I had no idea they were going to tell us from the jump which character it is that gets murdered. So now it's very interesting to see this character in action, and I'm very curious to see how things are going to play out. This book, like I said, it's very dense, but it's so well written. The writing is very, very smart, and it's one of those books that I love because I feel like not a single word is wasted. I've been reading and then I'll get distracted for a little bit, and then I'll go back and reread the 4 or so sentences that I missed, and I'm like, okay, I actually needed to know what happened in those 4 sentences because it's very, not crucial, but relevant to building the story and these characters, and I love that about this book. I was trying to think of what this book reminds me of. Last night when I was reading, I was like, this writing style and the way the characters talk to one another reminds me so much of something I have read this year. And then it hit me that it reminds me a lot of Bunny by Mona Awad, just in terms of writing style and the dialogue between the characters. One thing that I really wasn't expecting from this book is that it kind of has some fever dream-like qualities, and I never hear anyone say that about this book, so maybe it's just me that's getting that vibe, but that's kind of what it feels like to me, and I think that's part of the reason it reminded me a little bit of Bunny. But yeah, like I said, I'm really enjoying it so far. I'm also interested to see how things will play out for our main character, who is kind of narrating our story, because he is keeping a lot of secrets from this friend group that he's fallen in with, and I don't know how much longer he can keep these secrets for. But yeah, I'm excited to keep reading this one. It's a very gray and gloomy day, so I'm going to turn on the fire and pick this book up whenever I have breaks throughout my day, and I will update you guys when I have some more thoughts. Hi guys, another update. I made it to the halfway point last night, and that's where I wanted to film my thoughts. I'm a little past that point now. I'm on page 316. But I remember in my first impressions update, I was like, this feels like a book where absolutely no word is wasted and everything feels relevant to building up the plot. And like 25 pages later, I was eating my words because this book has become very detail heavy, very wordy. I feel like I really am getting bogged down in the details, but I'm still liking it. I really don't know where the story is gonna go because, like I said, page 1 of the prologue, you find out who's murdered and kind of how it happens. And we've had all the events leading up to the murder, and now it is kind of like the aftermath. So in my head, it feels like there's a very logical way this book could end, and everything seems to be happening in a really logical sequence of events. But I don't want the ending to be logical. I want it to be a little bit out of left field. So I'm hoping that there is like a crazy twist. I feel like I've heard people say that the ending of this is wild. So that's what I'm hoping for, because right now everything just feels really detail heavy and really logical, and I'm wanting a little more action. This book definitely is super, super slow. Like I said in my first update, we get like 5 pages of action for every 100 pages. So I'm hoping that the payoff is worth it in the end, but it's very well written and I am still enjoying it. So the next time I talk to you guys, I might be finished with The Secret History. So I will see you when I see you. Hi guys, it has been exactly 1 week since I started this vlog, and I just finished The Secret History, the first book of this vlog, so I will definitely be continuing this into this coming week. Instead of making it Reading Dark Academia for 1 week, it'll just be like a Dark Academia reading vlog. This one took me a while to get through. Not only was it 559 pages, but it was very, very slow paced. And I don't know, I kind of have mixed feelings about it. I feel like I'm set on rating it 4 stars, but I feel like I appreciate this book more than I enjoyed it, if that makes sense. I feel like it was so well written and it was very smart. There's definitely a lot of commentary in here, and I feel like there are a lot of themes that Donna Tartt was trying to convey to the reader, some of which I'm gonna have to look up and research later because I feel like this book was a little too smart for me and some stuff I didn't fully comprehend. But I think it was really well done. I don't know, the last 200 pages or so, I was ready for this book to be over. I was really excited to get to the climax because I was like, well, this is definitely building up to something exciting and intense and dramatic, and it was, but it wasn't what I was hoping it would be. It kind of fell a little short of the expectations I had for the ending of this book, but I don't know, that's kind of like not the point of this book, so I don't want to judge it based on it being slow paced and the ending not being how I expected it to be, because I think it is overall a really great book. I just don't know if I personally could recommend it to a bunch of people because it's so slow and I don't think it's for everyone. But I'm glad I started out the vlog with this because I do totally understand why this is the precedent and the standard that kind of started the dark academia subgenre. So I'm really excited to continue along my journey from here. Okay, I have my next potential reads for the vlog all laid out. And right off the bat, I'm ruling out Ninth House by Leigh Bardugo. As much as I want to read it, I'm just more in the mood for a thriller because I think that it will be more fast-paced, which is definitely what I need after reading such a slow-paced book. Also, this one is the longest book out of all of them, so I want something short. And I really thought The Maidens was going to be what I picked up next in this vlog, but just the premise of the group of students and the professor that's questionable and the murder, and even the cover has the Greek bust head on the front like The Secret History does, and there's lots of Greek references. It just sounds very similar to The Secret History, and I want to switch it up a little bit, which also would rule out If We Were Villains because literally same premise. And then there were 2. I'm honestly anticipating this one more than They Never Learn, but I feel like this one follows a group of students, and this one we get a female perspective, which I think I'm definitely craving after all the male energy that was in The Secret History. So, I think I'm gonna make They Never Learn by Layne Fargo my next read of the vlog. Hi guys, I've started They Never Learn by Layne Fargo, and I'm a good ways into it so far. I'm on page 261, so I definitely expected to give you guys an update before now, but to be honest, I haven't had too many thoughts about this book so far or an opinion one way or the other really. I'm enjoying my time reading it, but I'm not obsessed with it. I keep comparing it to The Secret History since that's what I just read, and this is a Dark Academia vlog, and I honestly miss the characters from The Secret History. As horrible as they were just so interesting to read about, and the storyline was so intriguing. Even though the ending didn't really fulfill me, I just was so much more into that story and those characters than I am this book. And considering our main character in this book is a serial killer who's also a professor, I thought I was going to be really invested in her story and just on the edge of my seat wondering if she's gonna get caught or not. I thought I was gonna have a ton of anxiety reading this book, and I'm just not as into it as I thought I would be, but I'm still like enjoying my time reading it. My favorite thing that has happened in this book so far is that we get 2 POVs. So we obviously get our main character, the professor, who is also the serial killer, and then we also get this POV of a student at the same university. And I kept wondering if their storylines were going to cross over or how they were gonna meet, and something happened right before the halfway point that answered all the questions I had about that, and I was not expecting it at all. I thought it was so well done, and I really enjoyed how it was written, so that really got me, and I'm hoping there are a few more surprises along the way like that, because right now it just feels like this book can end one of two ways. Either she gets caught or she doesn't. So I'm just hoping for a few more surprises. Also, in terms of this being a dark academia, I feel like what I think of when I think of dark academia, something like The Secret History comes to mind way before something like this. I mean, all the elements are here for this to be classified as a dark academia, but something's kind of missing for me to consider this like a true dark academia, because when I was reading The Secret History, I was like, okay, I need my red wine, I need to be reading this by the fire, I need my dark academia playlist. I just like had to set the mood, and for me, this isn't giving me the same vibes. This book definitely is a lot easier to read though. It's way more fast-paced, super short chapters, which I love, so flying through this one. So I'll probably end up finishing this one tonight, and I will update you guys probably tomorrow morning with my final thoughts on They Never Learn. Hi guys, it is the next morning, and last night I did end up finishing They Never Learn by Layne Fargo. I did really like the ending. It had a few more surprises like I was hoping it would, and I was satisfied with how it ended, I would say. There was one part that ended how I hoped it would, and then there was another part where I kind of wish it would have gone in a different direction, but overall, I was satisfied with the ending and I enjoyed it. I think I would probably rate this book 3.75 to 4 stars. I'll probably round it up to 4. I definitely enjoyed my time reading it, and it was a really easy read. It was quick, it was fast-paced, but I wasn't obsessed with it, and it's not a new favorite. I really enjoyed the feminist revenge vibes of this book. Definitely great fall vibes. It does take place in October. The fall weather is mentioned. Halloween is mentioned. They even go to a Halloween party. So I think this is a great one to read this time of year. And it was a solid second dark academia book for this vlog. Last night I did end up picking what is going to be my third book for the vlog, and that is The Maidens by Alex Michaelides. I didn't read much at all. I only got to page 39, so I'm like 10% of the way through this book so far. But Alex Michaelides is also the author of The Silent Patient, which I'm not the biggest fan of that book. I thought it was good, but I feel like it's way overhyped. Everyone hypes up how good the twist is, and it just didn't really do it for me personally, but I do really remember enjoying his writing style. It's very dark and mysterious and quick and smart, and I'm noticing that again in this book. I remembered how much I really did enjoy his writing. Initially, this is what I thought was going to be the second book I picked up in this vlog, but after reading The Secret History, I was just craving something a bit different, and I thought this would be too similar to The Secret History. But then after reading They Never Learn, I was like, no, I need some more of those Secret History, dark academia vibes. But also this one has a female main character, so it's also giving what I wanted from They Never Learn. So this book I think is a good mix between the two other books I've read so far for this vlog. I think this one definitely has the potential to be the favorite of this vlog, so we shall see. I do have high hopes for it, and I'm liking it so far. We're following our main character named Mariana. She is a therapist, and she just got a call from her niece named Zoe, who is a student at Cambridge, and a body was found on campus, and they believe it to be the body of Zoe's friend Tara, because Tara was acting strangely. Zoe hasn't heard from Tara in a while. Zoe's just putting the pieces together and thinks it could potentially be her friend Tara who was killed. So Mariana is on the train right now, heading to Cambridge to check on Zoe and to be there for her while this is going on. So I'm intrigued by the premise so far, and I'm enjoying the perspective of Mariana. I feel like Mariana kind of has some secrets, so I'm intrigued to read more from her perspective. Okay, I've been reading all morning and I just hit the 100-page mark and I'm still really liking this book. I'd say the pacing has slowed down a little bit, but I really like how many layers there are to the plot, and I really like how many characters have been introduced, because it's enough to where I don't know who is good and who is bad. Like, I feel like anyone could be a potential suspect, but it's not too many to where it's overwhelmingly a lot. I'm also really loving all the references to Greek mythology and classic literature. It's giving me the dark academia vibes that I was wanting. So I'm gonna take a break from reading just for a little bit, but I will update you guys probably in about 100 pages or so, or if something else major happens that I have thoughts on. Hi guys, another update. I am at the start of part 5 in the Maidens, which is page 293, so I'm like almost done with the book. I know I said I would update every 100 pages or so, but the same thing is happening with this book that happened with They Never Learn, where I just don't have too many thoughts about it. The pace has slowed down even more in this book since the last time I updated and said it was becoming very slow paced. And I feel like with The Silent Patient, yes, it was a slow burn, but we got the letters from Alicia throughout, so it made it more enticing. Where with this book, it feels kind of flat and a little bit monotone, and I don't know, I'm just hoping the payoff is worth it. I honestly don't know how this book is gonna end, which is a good thing, but also I just feel like I don't have a good grasp on any of the characters. I feel like all the interactions are so cryptic. It's kind of alluding to something almost paranormal or otherworldly that could be at play in this book, which I don't know how I feel about that. We have Mariana, this therapist, also the aunt of Zoe, who's a student at Cambridge, and one of Zoe's friends was murdered. Zoe's friend, Tara, who was murdered, is in this little group of students called the Maidens, who were like the favorite students of this professor, and Mariana thinks that the professor is the one who murdered Tara. I don't want to spoil anything. I have no idea how this book is going to end because everything seems a little bit cryptic. So we'll see. I'm definitely going to finish this in a few hours or so, and the next update I give will be my final thoughts on the book. Hi guys, I finished The Maidens by Alex Michaelides last night, and I'm so disappointed. I did not like the ending at all. And it wasn't even the fact that the ending didn't end how I wanted it to, and that I didn't personally enjoy the ending. It was more so that there were just some characters in here that were solely written in to be red herrings and nothing more. And I'm totally cool with the red herring, but when you don't finish out these other characters' stories and they're just kind of like, I felt like there were all these loose ends that were just not resolved whatsoever, and the ending on top of that just like made me angry. I didn't like how it ended, and I kind of predicted it right before it was about to happen, which was exactly what happened with The Silent Patient too. I started putting the pieces together like right before it was revealed. And there was this one detail that I remember from the beginning of the book because it stuck out to me personally, and then I forgot about it, and when it came back up towards the end, I was like, yep, this is gonna play into the twist. I knew it. And so it just didn't feel all that shocking or crazy of a plot twist to me. So I'm sadly disappointed, but I did enjoy the setting and I did enjoy the writing. I like how Alex Michaelides creates this really dark kind of vibe in his stories. So I'm gonna give it 3 stars, but I am disappointed. Not that I thought this was gonna be a 5-star, but I was hopeful that I would enjoy it and that it would make me reevaluate my feelings on The Silent Patient, because I was thinking, you know, maybe it was just the overhype of The Silent Patient that made me lower my rating a little bit, but now I feel validated that I just don't enjoy his plot twist, unfortunately. But I'm sad to end the vlog with this book and on a disappointing note, but it's okay. You can't win them all. I'm about to film a little wrap up and recap all of the books that I read for this vlog. Hi guys, before ending this vlog, I thought I would film a little wrap up to summarize everything that I've read and just kind of recap my thoughts and feelings on all of these books. The first book that I picked up for this reading vlog was The Secret History by Donna Tartt. This is really the book that started it all and birthed the dark academia subgenre and aesthetic. In this book, we are following a friend group at a prestigious liberal arts school in New Hampshire. There's been a murder in the friend group, and we're following the events leading up to the murder as well as the aftermath. And I totally understand why this book gets all the praise and hype that it does. I thought it was really well done and I really loved the writing, but I personally got a little bogged down in the details and thought that it became a little bit too wordy. And it's more about the journey in this book than what it actually leads up to. For me, the payoff wasn't exactly worth it, but I don't really think that's the point of this book. I really found the characters in this book to be so interesting and intriguing, and even though they're horrible people, they're pretentious and morally wrong, I just found them to be so interesting to read about, so I gave this book 4 stars. Then I read They Never Learn by Layne Fargo. This book is following a woman who is a professor at a college, but she's also a serial killer who murders men who have wronged women. And this one was a good change of pace. Literally, it was a lot faster paced than The Secret History, which I found to be pretty slow. This one moved really quickly with short chapters, so I flew through it. I also really liked the feminist vibes of this one and the revenge vibes. I was definitely craving more feminine energy after all the masculinity in The Secret History. I wasn't obsessed with this one or on the edge of my seat, but there were a few little twists that caught me off guard and I thought were super fun and well done. Overall, I felt like the characters and the plot line was slightly lacking in depth, but overall I did enjoy my time reading it, and I feel like it's a good thriller to pick up in October. I gave this one 3.75 stars. Then I read The Maidens by Alex Michaelides. This one is following a psychotherapist named Mariana. She gets a call one day from her niece Zoe, who is a student at Cambridge, notifying her that one of her friends has just been murdered on campus, and there appears to be a serial killer at Cambridge. So Mariana makes the journey to Cambridge to comfort Zoe, but also do a little bit of sleuthing of her own to try and figure out who is this killer on campus. And she ends up becoming very suspicious of this professor at the school who has this group of students he favors of young women who call themselves the Maidens. This book was sadly very disappointing for me. I really liked the writing and I liked the setting. I thought it was really dark and mysterious, but I feel like the ending, there were all these characters whose sole purpose in this book was to be a red herring and nothing else. So they just ended up being really flat, and the story ended with a lot of loose ends. And I just don't even like how the ending played out. It kind of made me angry, and I feel like during the whole time prior to the ending, the book was just a little bit slow and a little bit monotone. So I ended up giving The Maidens 3 stars. Alright guys, that's going to conclude this Dark Academia reading vlog. I hope you enjoyed watching it. Let me know if you have read any of these books before, or if you have any other Dark Academia recs that you think I should pick up next. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, all that good stuff, and I will see you guys so soon in my next video. Bye guys!